and there are no techno fixes. I sometimes talk about how, on at least in the United States, on the far right end of the political spectrum, you see in conservatism, a religious fundamentalism that, as a response to the crisis, well, God's going to save us. We're all just going to be raptured up, or this is what's supposed to happen because it's in the Bible, et cetera, et cetera. And that's just a means of denial and escapism. And on the left's response, that I would argue is equally insane, is this techno fix, that the great savior of technology is going to come to the rescue at the last possible minute, either in the form of geoengineering or a colony on Mars, or cloud seeding or misting, or all the other insane ideas that they have no idea how that's going to play out with all the other complex systems of the planet, and odds are high that it would only make things much, much worse in the long run and speed things up, in fact. So I don't think that any kind of techno fix is really in the cards at this point. And I don't have hope. I don't expect. I don't see how. Bottom line is, we have enough. There's as much CO2 in the atmosphere. Let me rephrase that. The last time there was this much CO2 in the atmosphere was during the Pliocene epoch, and at which point the seas were 80 feet higher. So we've already created the conditions for that type of world to be a reality here, and the planet is rapidly catching up to those conditions, like very fast. And so I don't see, there is no way we're going to stop it. There is no way we're going to change it. And, up until very recently, I thought, well, maybe there was still some things we could do to mitigate it. But then when you look at an honest, clear look at the political situation on the planet, where there is nothing to indicate that global governments would do the right thing and stop all carbon emissions on a dime and immediately do away with fossil fuel power and switch over to renewables and enforce the dramatic lifestyle changes that we would all have to accept, to even begin to pretend to make a dent in what's happening. I mean, there's nothing to indicate that even one country is going to do that, let alone the entire planet. And I would argue that against anybody, and because it's basically it's reality, it's what's happening. So I don't have hope, but I definitely still feel, back to the moral agency, that I personally feel like I still need to do everything I can to be close to the earth and be a friend of the earth and be part of the earth. And so I try to live my life in that direction the best I can and do a better job as time goes forward. And at the end of the day, if I'm still alive when I'm in my 80s or 90s, and a young person comes up to me and says, wow, you were still on the planet when there was still ice in the Arctic, and Antarctica was still intact, and there were still huge glaciers in the Himalaya and in Western Canada and in Alaska. What did you do during that time to try to save it? And and again, back to the selfish part, but I want to be able to say I did everything I could. I wrote articles, I reduced my carbon footprint and continued reducing it, and I did everything I could because it was the right thing to do.